Okay, let me see if I can get this thing in frame. Okay, go back a little bit. Let's go back a little bit. Okay. Let's see. Better? Still only got about a quarter of this thing in. Okay. A little bit more. Huh. Yeah, I'm gonna need a lot more. Let's get this thing in frame, huh? Get it in frame. There we go. Now we're talking. Hello and welcome to 48 Detailing. My name is Zaia and I'm standing next to this massive behemoth of a vehicle, which is a 2013 Ford F-250 with some, slight to moderate modifications on her. What we're going to be doing today, guys, is a full decontamination, a light enhancement / one-step polish, and then also a sealant application to go ahead and add a little bit of gloss, a little bit of pop, a little bit of shine. Now, essentially what happened with this truck is customer went ahead and undercoated the underbody of the vehicle, got that dialed in, and sadly some of that spray oversprayed onto the rest of the vehicle. So we need to go ahead and remove that from the surface of the paint and then go ahead and enhance the vehicle, remove any kind of defects that we get applied with our clay bar treatments, and then go ahead and add a little bit of protection as well to the vehicle, okay? So this is a super important step, the clay bar treatment, prior to jumping into anything like correction or ceramic coating application, and we'll get into full detail on why it's so important, and then take you through the step-by-step process on how to get this massive thing dialed in, looking great, and protected. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you enjoy the rest of the video, but let's jump straight on in. So essentially, all you need are two things. After you wash your vehicle, of course, you're gonna need your choice of clay bar or clay towel. Now, your clay towel is gonna be the more expensive option. These clay towels come in at around 50 bucks a pop, but the great thing about them is that they can be cleaned and reused. And of course, you have a much larger surface area that you're working with as well. So you finish up a thing like this a lot quicker than using this little thing over here. But essentially all you do, if you do have a clay bar, which are very common, you can go ahead and pick them up for your local auto shop, Walmart, or purchase some nice ones online. You're gonna go ahead and take your clay lubrication, a waterless wash. Some people like using quick detailers. What we like to use is Prep Wash from Dr. Beaslesy. That is a dedicated clay lube / prep waterless wash to go ahead and remove embedded contamination. So it's not just a cleaner, it's gonna go ahead and help that, it's gonna help basically open up the pores of the paint and help you remove even more contamination with your clay bar treatment. So we're gonna take it, we're gonna prime it with our clay lubrication, whatever you'd like to use. You can also use car soap as well. That works all right. It's not the best solution. I recommend a dedicated clay lube solution, but we're gonna go ahead and spray on the paint over here. Not too much, just enough. Because if you spray too much solution on the paint, you're essentially gonna be hydroplaning your clay bar or your clay towel on top of the paint and not remove that contamination. It's a fine balance, guys. So you just wanna make sure you spray just enough so your clay bar can just slide along the surface, not completely just fly out of your hand, okay? Just enough so it can go ahead and move back and forth smoothly. And you can already see that overspray being removed from the surface and turning black on the paint. And let me bring you in real quick. You can see all that contamination being removed from the paint and basically bleeding off the paint over here. It's also gonna get stuck in your clay bar as well. As you can see, you get a lot of dirt, a lot of grime that gets stuck into your clay bar as well. And that's why you have to go ahead and knead this clay bar to fresh side so you don't continually rub even more excess contamination onto the paint, which causes defects, okay? But that's essentially what we're doing, guys. We're removing that embedded contamination so we get some fresh paint underneath. Now, going around a truck this size with something this small is gonna take a while. So what we're gonna do is gonna go ahead and upgrade to our clay towel. And that clay towel is not only gonna speed the process, but here's the thing, guys. This is a $5 bar. That's a $50 towel. You have to be willing to go ahead and trash this thing after a vehicle like this,
but it's worth it for us because it's going to make the process a lot more efficient. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So when you're claying your vehicle, guys, you want to make sure you take note of your environment. If you're working outside in the sun and it's super hot, you're going to have to use more solution, work in smaller sections, and also work a bit more efficiently, you know? But because we are in the shop and more so of a controlled environment, I can work larger panels of the vehicle safely and go ahead and properly remove that contamination. Again, the steps are spray on your lubrication, go ahead and use your clay bar, clay mitts, or clay towel to remove that contamination, and then go ahead and mop up that residue with a microfiber towel. But besides that, guys, the process is pretty simple. You don't need to use a whole lot of pressure either. Just smooth back and forth motions after you finish a section. Check on it with your feel, with a little bit of touch. You're going to be able to feel if there's still any contamination. On this vehicle, you can visibly see the contamination and feel it, and you can see a perfect before and after of a section that I went ahead and completed on the hood of that overspray that we're dealing with.
And of course, guys, if you are using a clay towel like this or a clay mitt, you want to make sure after a few pass-throughs, you notice I was flipping to fresh sides of the towel. Remember, you're going to go ahead and start collecting that contamination on this towel as well, so you want to make sure that you clean it out thoroughly. You know, right now I just got a bucket with a little bit of waterless wash solution, any type of bucket with a little bit of car soap or something like that, or maybe washing out in the sink. You can see all that contamination starting to come out of that clay towel into the bucket over here. I want to make sure that I cleanse this towel after a few pass-throughs. Maybe if I've used all the sides, you notice I folded it in fours so I can get multiple sides to the towel and keep working the vehicle. But thoroughly go ahead and wash the towel out just like that, and then you'll be all set to go for your next pass-throughs. And you can already see visibly that this towel is looking a lot cleaner, a lot bluer, I guess if you would want to say, and all that dirt and grime collected inside the bucket rather than getting back onto the paint.
Let's talk a little bit about contamination and the different types. Now remember, guys, your paint is porous, very similar to your skin. And just like your skin, you need to exfoliate over a period of time and make sure you're thoroughly cleaning it on a regular basis. Now you don't need to clay your vehicle on a weekly, monthly, and sometimes even yearly basis. You just need to clay it when you need to clay it. And that's really going to be depending on what type of protection you have on your vehicle and also how you're maintaining your vehicle, how frequently you're washing it. A vehicle without any protection that doesn't get that many washes or hand washes throughout the months, you're going to go ahead and need to do more clay bar treatments throughout its lifespan. And of course, the more clay bar treatments you do, the more light surface damage you're going to be causing to paints, and obviously more polishing you're going to have to do, which means you're going to have less clear coat over time. So the best thing for you to do when it comes to your vehicle is make sure to go through this stage, get some proper protection on it, maybe like a ceramic coating, paint protection film, or at least a sealant, so that protection can not let that contamination bond to the surface and make it much easier for you to clean. But again, you got multiple forms of contamination. You have your overspray, you have your traditional contamination that's accumulated over time that embeds itself into the pores. You have iron fallout contamination from brake dust and railroad dust and things like that. And each one of these types of contamination have different processes and procedures for removal. But the key thing, it's necessary for you to remove this stuff off the surface of your paint before you do anything like polishing or applying any type of protection, because that contamination is going to get in the way of that protection of properly bonding to the vehicle surface, degrade the durability, and also degrade the gloss and shine as well.
All right, guys, I'm here and my shoulder is still alive. We have completed the clay bar treatment on the Ford F-250. Now we're going to go ahead and jump into the enhancement, one step, whatever you'd like to refer it to. It's basically just going to be a light polish to go ahead and enhance the gloss and shine of the paint again, and also remove any type of defects that we have applied to the vehicle's paint during the clay treatment process. Because remember, guys, after you clay a vehicle, you want to make sure that you polish it. That friction, that motion of the back and forth of that clay bar or clay towel while removing that embedded contamination does cause some slight defects here and there. Very, very light. Nothing that, light polish can't take care of. So you want to make sure that you perform a light polish after you're done with the clay bar treatment. But again, that clay treatment is necessary to go ahead and remove that embedded contamination before you polish, because you don't want all that gunk that we just saw in that clay towel, and I'll show you before and after right now, in the water residue inside of your pad or in between the paint and the coating application. So let's go ahead and jump into that light polishing process, and let me take you step by step. So right here, guys, I got my polisher. I'm using the Rupes Miele with a 6-inch backing plate. This is a 4-section polisher, so when we go around the vehicle, it's not gonna bog down or stop on me while I'm trying to get into all the nooks and crannies and crevices while polishing it out. I also have a medium cut pad. This is a blueberry pad from Buff and Shine. Lake Country's blueberry pad is very similar as well. We're gonna go ahead and line that up with the backing plate of the polisher, and then we're gonna go ahead and use Uno One Protect. Now, what is Uno One Protect? It is a hybrid polish / sealant. So this is a perfect option to go ahead and remove some of these defects from the surface, enhance the gloss and shine, and also leave a good amount of protection behind. Now, the great thing about this stuff is it works great with any other sealant application. So we're gonna follow Uno up with a sealant application to enhance that gloss and shine even further and add even more protection. So when you're using a sealant, you wanna make sure you're using a polish that can go ahead and properly bond with that sealant as well. Let's say we're applying a ceramic coating to the surface. Rather than using Rupes Uno, which has sealants in it, we're gonna go ahead and use something like NSP 95 or NSP Z1, by the way, get it? Okay, NSP Z1, which are nano surface primers. They're ceramic primers, so it gets the paint ready for a coating application because ceramic bonds with ceramic, sealants bond with sealants. They don't work the other way around. So you wanna make sure that if you're using a coating on your vehicle, use something like a ceramic primer, or you're gonna have to go ahead and go around this whole vehicle again and strip off the waxes and sealants in your traditional polishes and things of that nature, okay? But let's go ahead and move on to the polishing process. I'm gonna put a good amount of product into the pad, reason being I'm priming it, and is also gonna be working in some larger surface areas. We got a bigger truck that we're dealing with, so let's go ahead and polish this thing out.
Buffing, polishing, paint correction, color correction, whatever you want to refer to it as, you're basically restoring the paint at the end of the day, guys. Now, we are in an industry where terminology can be mixed up and each one has its own definition. We keep it really simple here at 48 Detailing. We basically have 3 stages of paint correction, okay? We have our 1-step, we have our 2-step, and of course we have our multi-stage correction, which is basically trying to get that car looking as good as possible by any means necessary, but also keeping the longevity and durability of the paint system intact for the long term. Now, what we do here at 48 Detailing is on newer vehicles, we just recommend a light enhancement, very similar to what we're doing here. We're just removing very light defects from the vehicle. We're not really chasing after deep scratches and things like that. It's just enough to remove the defects that we've applied with our clay bar treatment and then go ahead and enhance the gloss and paint as well during the process. From there, you would move on to the next step, which is a 1-step paint correction. Now, 1-step is going to remove about 50% of the defects that you see on the surface. Typically, light to medium swirl marks are going to be completely removed with a 1-step, and then it's going to go ahead and improve most medium to maybe some deeper scratches on the surface, but won't completely remove them. From there, you have your 2-step correction. That's going to remove about 80% of light, medium, and some of the heavy scratches as well. Again, not perfection, but you're going to look pretty darn good with that. And then you move on to the multi-stage correction. So we basically focus on 3 levels of correction and then also our light enhancement, which just gets that paint ready, adds a little bit of gloss and shine for whatever kind of sealant or coating application that we're performing on the vehicle. So when you're looking to get your vehicle detailed, maybe you're trying to do it yourself, or maybe you're going elsewhere to another detailing company to go ahead and get it restored and protected, you really have to ask yourself, what am I looking for? You can't just walk into a restaurant and ask, how much is your food? You need the person at the restaurant needs to know and understand exactly what type of food you're looking for, right? If you're in the mood for Chinese and they hand you over a Mediterranean dish, you're not going to be very satisfied. So we need information. We need to know exactly what type of vehicle you have, the condition that it's in, and also your expectations as well for that vehicle. Now, the expectations were set with this customer. Want the overspray removed, wants to be a little bit more glossy and shiny, and wants to add a little bit of protection. That was it. So we went ahead and met those expectations, but this customer's expectations can be very different from yours, and that's why we provide different levels and different options of correction, coatings, and paint protection film applications for each specific type of vehicle that walks into our shop. And that's why we spend the time asking those proper questions, looking at your vehicle, and working with you one-on-one and making sure that we have the right package for you and your vehicle. Because at the end of the day, it takes a lot of time. I mean, this truck alone, with me, myself, and I working on it, took me around 8 o'clock all the way till closing to go ahead and get this job done. And we don't want to spend time or waste material and waste money and waste your money and time at the end of the day on something that you don't need or you don't want for your vehicle. So make sure to ask the right questions, and make sure to let the detailer also ask the right questions to you, so we have an understanding of what you're looking for.
Alright guys, so we finally finished out polishing the F-250. I also went ahead and dressed and sealed all the plastics as well, got those restored and prepped up, so we can go ahead and move on to our paint sealant application. Now this sealant can go on paints, chrome pieces, even on top of the plastics. I mean, we already took care of those with another product that gives more depth and longevity to plastics as well. But we're gonna go ahead and apply this to our paint and chrome, and then we're just gonna be doing final touch-ups on the vehicle. Things like door jambs, glass, all that good stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and start the application process with the polymer sealant. I'm gonna spray it out nice and heavy on top of the paint and chrome. And it's as simple as grabbing your initial towel, buffing it in, and then taking your second towel and then buffing it off. So in combination with Rupes Uno, the product I'm using right now is called Beatmaker, and it's also a polymer sealant. And it provides about, in combination with Uno, about 4 to 6 months worth of protection, just depending on how often you're driving the vehicle. It's gonna make that surface super slick, keep it cleaner longer, make it much easier to clean, and of course, it's gonna add a lot of gloss and shine to the surfaces that you apply it to.
So let's talk a little bit about protection, guys. There are a few forms of protection out there. Just like all the other processes and procedures that we go through, we have specific levels to them. So to be honest with you, wax is dead. If you're still using a wax on your car, I would recommend you to look elsewhere. At the end of the day, you take a candle, roll it down the street. What does it do? Candle wax is going to collect dirt and grime. Carnauba wax, beeswax, it's all the same thing. It's going to attract dirt, it's going to attract dust, it's going to attract grime, and it's not going to make life a whole lot easy to go ahead and protect your vehicle and maintain it. Yes, it does have some UV protection, but if you're here in our area like Arizona, that's not going to last very long when the temperatures are hitting like 100 or 110, because the surface temperature of your vehicle is well over that 600, 700, 800 degree mark, and that Carnauba wax or whatever wax you're using is just going to immediately melt off the surface and not be offering you any type of protection, gloss, or shine. And that is why we use things like sealants and, of course, ceramic coatings, which are going to be the best form of protection for your vehicle. Now, a sealant is a polymer that gets applied to your paint and semi-permanently bonds to your vehicle's surface, allowing you to have about 3 to sometimes even 6 months worth of protection, depending on how you're maintaining your vehicle and how often you drive it. Now, a ceramic coating actually permanently bonds to the surface of your vehicle, and the only way to take it off is by friction. Over a period of time, whether it be friction through the air from the aerodynamics of your vehicle or polishing the coating off. And what the coating provides, of course, is amazing gloss and shine, because we're essentially putting a glass layer on your vehicle's paint. But the important thing, it creates a hydrophobic layer, a sacrificial layer on top of your paint to avoid things like bird poop spots, water spots, fading, oxidation, all that good stuff. And rather than lasting just a few months, you get years out of a ceramic coating. And at 48 Detailing, we offer 3 main packages of coatings: our gold, silver, and bronze. Your gold is going to be 5+ years, your silver is going to be 3+ years, and then your bronze is going to be 1+ year worth of protection. Now, Zaia, what do you mean by plus? Guys, your coating's durability is really going to depend on how often you drive your vehicle and how you properly maintain it. But we can assure you that you get at least 1 year out of our 1 year, at least 3 years out of our 3 year, and at least 5 years out of our 5 year. Now, you can get more out of these coatings. I like to explain it kind of like a car warranty. After your car warranty is over, doesn't mean your car stops working. As long as you're properly maintaining your vehicle, you're going to go ahead and get a lot more longevity out of whatever coating that you pick. And our coatings are very overbuilt. We typically see about 1.5 years to sometimes 2 years out of our 1 year, 3.5 to 4 years out of our 3 year, and 5.5 to almost 6 years out of our 5 year. So you have the peace of mind that your vehicle is protected with the purchase that you're making.
And the Ford F-250 is done and set to go. So let's go over exactly again what we did on this vehicle today, guys. Very simple. We went ahead and did a full decontamination with a very thorough clay bar treatment to go ahead and remove that overspray. From there, we went ahead and polished the vehicle out to remove any kind of marring or swirl marks that we left over with the clay bar treatment. Also, that polishing stage enhances the gloss and shine of the vehicle. And of course, after that, we applied a 3 to 6 month polymer sealant, depending on how you drive your vehicle, and then went ahead and did all the final touch-ups, tires, rims, nooks and crannies, chrome pieces, all that good stuff to go ahead and give an all-inclusive finished product at the end of the day. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video and the results that we were able to get on this Ford F-250. It's been a process. We started this project at around 9 o'clock. We're looking about 4 o'clock right now. So it's been a fun time. But again, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like and subscribe button. Throw any of your questions in the comments below. We'd be more than happy to help. And if you have any questions about our services here in Surprise, Arizona, feel free to give us a call. We're more than happy to answer those for you as well and possibly get you scheduled and meet you in person. Thank you again and have a great rest of the day.